Welcome to another episode of Message for Mom, where we're busting the myth that mothers-in-law aren't necessarily monsters-in-law. And I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts who happen to be my daughters-in-law. And Kelly is to my left.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm married to Beth's oldest son, Alex.
I don't know why I say that, especially at the podcast.
I know.
But if you're watching this on YouTube, it probably would be like looking like you're actually to my right on YouTube if you're facing.
No, I'm still.
It's my left, but if you're like watching the video, I don't know.
I'm still on.
Is it?
You're correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I would get that totally wrong, but you're correct.
Okay. Well, not to confuse anybody because this really is a podcast, but to my right is Chelsea.
Hi, I'm Chelsea. I am married to Beth's middle son, Andrew.
Yes. And we have well, I would say it was a hot topic a few years ago. I'm not exactly sure if it's a hot topic these days, but we are going to be discussing what it means to dress your age or age appropriate dressing. So, but before we dive in, let's raise our glass and a toast because we know that you don't need to be a blood relative to love your relative.
Cheers.
So cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
And here's
Cheers.
another episode.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, before we dive in, should we all go around and say our age or like, I don't know. What do we think?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so Chelsea?
All right. So I'm 34 and I turned 35 this year.
34, 35. Do you ever stop and think if something that you're wearing is like too young for you? Do you ever think about that?
Well,
Now that you're in your 30s?
sometimes yes, but also no, because I feel like the stores that I shop at typically have clothes that are my age category.
Okay.
But there's definitely a few things that maybe I've put on at like Madewell or Anthropology. Because I would say my typical stores that I shop at, I like Madewell, I like Anthropology, I like J. Crew, and then add in other stores in between. But there's definitely a few things that I put on and I'm like, I don't know about this.
Really?
But that might just be my personal preference and not necessarily an age issue.
Right.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm 65 and I will just share just briefly and we'll get back to this. But when I first started blogging 9 years ago, this was a very hot topic. It was something that women would write into me all the time about.
They kind of still do.
They do.
They do, but not as much. I will say we have pushed the boundaries back, but we'll definitely be taking a look at that. But so I started blogging when I was 56. But I have seen a big shift just in the 9 years that I've been in social media. And Kelly?
Yeah. I'm 47 and I will say though that crop tops are not for me, and I don't know that it's necessarily an age
Were they
specific thing.
Were you ever?
No.
Okay,
and I will say though that
What you're wearing now though is actually a cropped.
it is, but
sweater.
since I'm petite,
Since you're petite.
not crop. And by cropped, I mean like coming
Showing
up,
your
like
midriff.
showing my midriff, right? And I think that the idea of this was drilled into me from junior high school when we had a very strict dress code at my school that was no midriffs may show. And I think it's just stuck with me all these years where I'm like, that is not a good look.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't like it on anyone, no matter what their age. It's not my favorite thing.
Right.
So don't show your midriff, whatever. Don't. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
That's funny because I love a good crop top.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I think it just all comes down to comfort level, right?
Yeah.
I personally just don't feel comfortable with it. And that may or may not have come from it being drilled into me in high school or junior high.
Right.
But it's just stuck with me my whole life. Like I've just never felt comfortable with it. Unless I'm in a bathing suit, you'll not see me in a crop top.
Right.
So
I think too, it's how you do it. For me, like a crop top, it's like you got to wear higher waisted pants to where it's like only like I would never do it like a low rise jean and
like
I
in
don't
the
know.
early aughts where we had the really low rise jeans and then the crop top, like the Britney Spears.
I think it's like all in how you do it. But also I think that's coming back now, especially in like I'm seeing some of like the younger like 20s where they're bringing back that early 2000s,
the low rise,
mid 2000 low rise with the crop. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm like, I'm here for it because maybe at the age of 23, I would have worn that.
But you know what? But here also, I will say though, I follow a lot of older ladies on, for blogs or whatever. And I do see a lot of these more fashion forward older ladies, like I'm talking late 60s, 70s, wearing crop tops with high waisted trousers. And it's a great look. I think it totally works. And I think it's super sophisticated and it's really nice.
Yeah.
But it's just not for me.
Right.
That's fair.
Right. Which that at the end of the day, that's what style should be, is your personal preference. But okay, so let's start with a few statistics because I think you brought up how many fashion blogs are out there these days.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was actually a little astonished with this.
I know.
Maybe I shouldn't be. It's saturated.
Yeah.
It's saturated.
Well, so it looks like for fashion in particular, and this was in 2021, so it could probably be even more now, but was 60 million fashion blogs.
60 million.
Yeah, is what.
That's a lot.
And
that's a blog. That's not even taking into account Instagram accounts or.
No, that's a blog. Yeah.
TikTok or, right. This is a blog. So many people think that blogs are dead, which I'm here to tell you that they are not.
Yeah.
They're not dead at all. So that's very astonishing. I don't know what.
I guarantee there's more than that.
I think
like,
so. I definitely think so too. Did they break it down by demographics, like age groups?
No, I don't think that they do. But yeah, it says that there's 600 million blogs.
That's a lot
just in general, but
that's a lot.
They don't break it down by
by
age group.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely out there in the over 50 demographic, and I have been because I started blogging when I was 56, and I was very intent on having a blog because that's the only piece of real estate you own out there. I mean, Instagram owns Instagram, YouTube owns YouTube. I mean, they can kick you off. They can
Facebook owns.
Facebook.
TikTok might
or
be
Meta
getting
owns.
banned.
That's right. We don't know.
You never know.
So I'm on all of those channels, but I also have some very I guess strong opinions about each one of those too. But I do have a blog, and that is something that is near and dear to my heart, and where we dish out fashion every single day, and we have been for 9 years. So I was 56 when I started, 65 now, and so as we talked about in the opener. So is there such a thing as age appropriate dressing? So in my mind, because I get this question a lot, and I just kind of throw it back to my reader, I don't really know what that looks like. I don't know what age appropriate dressing truly means, because there would have to be one person or a panel of people that would be getting together saying, okay, this is what you wear at 50, this is what you wear at 60, this is what you wear at 20.
Right.
And I don't know of any such group, and I don't know if I would be listening to them if there were. But I do know when I first started blogging, because fashion magazines were still very big, they're on the downside now, but they were still prevalent. So we did have some fashion editors from Marie Claire or Vogue or Glamour. Some of them are even defunct now, but they would be saying, oh, this is what you could wear at 50, or no, it was mostly no, you shouldn't be wearing this, after 50 or 60. So I think we've come along and debunked some of those things. And so they're, again, putting it back to personal style, like a crop top. I don't think I ever wore a crop top ever in my life. So obviously I'm not going to pick that trend up now.
Right.
But
like, I'm 65. I'm starting to wear crop tops.
I'm gonna rock this crop top.
I mean, I think everyone's definition of what does it mean to dress your age is probably different.
Right.
I more so than what does it mean to dress your age, I feel like I adhere to what does it mean to dress to your body type or shape more than age, because I think that even, I'm a very tiny person. There's certain things that probably look better on a curvier person than they would on me, or vice versa. And I think I adhere to that more than age.
Yes.
Right.
But I think that could be really big for some people, because I don't necessarily know if a lot of people adhere to what does it mean to dress according to your body shape, or you know what I mean? Like what
Yes.
you feel looks best on you. What do you guys think about that?
Well, personally, I mean, and this is just really mostly based on my experience on the blog and all that the work that I do in terms of research, but also just in terms of interacting with followers of the blog. I think a lot of people, and being petite myself, so it comes from that too, my feelings about being afraid to wear certain things because you've been kind of inured to think that it doesn't work for you. So like wearing wide leg pants for a petite, you know, or different things like this.
Right.
Or wearing bodycon outfits if you're heavier set or have curves or things like this. I think those things, like, I think people get very stuck in that
ways.
lane of thinking that. But I think, and you've actually talked about this a lot on the blog, and I see it a lot, and especially with these days of being able to actually see plus size models or curvier models modeling clothes. It really helps women to understand that you can wear a body skimming outfit, whether it's a dress or pants or, you know, a top, and not be stick thin and still look beautiful and still feel comfortable.
I actually
and not
think that those body slimming out, like those outfits that you're referring to, I think they look better on curvy people personally.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I wear it, I look like a cereal box.
Yeah, right.
Cereal?
We'll just like man there. But
a stick wearing a draping thing that should be more hugging.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's all on how you style it too.
Yes.
Right?
I completely agree with that. So there are actually two rules that I've always followed when it comes to style or fashion. And one is dress for the occasion, right?
That's a big one.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to work, I'm going to be wearing a work outfit. If it's the weekend, it's going to be more casual. If I'm going to a funeral, I'm going to have a very somber outfit. It might not necessarily be black, but it will be very thoughtful and tasteful because that's the occasion, or a wedding, or so I always fill in the blank. Okay, where am I going? You know, what am I doing? So that's the number one rule. And then the second one is the weather. Dress for the weather, because if I'm going to that wedding but it's raining, I'm probably going to shift my outfit based, you know, for footwear. You know, maybe I don't want those strappy sandals when it's pouring rain out, or you know, so fill in the blank. So two things. And those have always, you know, held me in good stead all through the years, are those two. But not, and I get this many, many times over on the blog, or probably more on social. It's like, you're too old to wear that. And that's usually in reference to a short skirt, you know, above my knee, or I'm baring my arms. We still have some dated rules that I don't think you need to have a perfect body to wear any kind of fashion. So if it's hot, I live in Georgia, it's hot, I wear sleeveless tops. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm not covering my upper arms when it's 90 degrees plus 90% humidity just because
because
I don't like the way they look.
But there are a lot of women out there that just you know, they'll wear long sleeves and they'll suffer because they've been, you know, fed this lie that you can't expose certain parts of your body. And we're not talking about the crop tops. We're not talking about, you know, midriffs. We're just talking
about
going
back to like early 20th century, like bathing costumes.
I know, you're right. I'm not going to wear tights to the beach. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that. Or, you know,
I love the mindset of dressing for the occasion though, because I feel like that's something that's lost in a lot of people sometimes is, you know, I mean, I just think even, like bring this all the way down to some of the high schoolers that I taught and like see now, and they'll go to school in their literal pajamas.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm like,
what is happening?
This is interesting. I'm like, we left the house this way. In our pajamas.
Yeah. I noticed that. I noticed that even when I was going to college, I was 35 and all these kids were, you know, 17 or whatever. And they would show up to lectures in flannel pajama pants and slippers.
Right.
Like they just kind of came over from the dorm.
They just shuffled over.
Like, what is going on here? But you see it at the airport too, right?
We do.
You see it travel wise. You see people show up in pajamas.
Yeah.
To travel. Like obviously we've gotten a lot more casual over time. Like when I lived in Alaska and I worked at an ad agency, I was coming from San Francisco Bay Area. It was, early 2000s. So the tech industry was like kind of revolutionizing how people were showing up to work in Silicon Valley, right? So I kind of had that mindset. I wasn't showing up to my ad job in a hoodie, but I did think that wearing jeans on Fridays would be okay. And I did have to petition to get our boss to let us wear jeans to work on Fridays
for casual
at
Friday.
the ad agency in Alaska, of all places.
Did they go for chinos first?
They might have. I probably should have tried that. But I had a job.
I feel like jeans aren't even that comfortable sometimes.
Well, but the thing,
at least for me, I don't know.
But I think the thing ultimately comes down to times change, and we do tend to go veer more on the casual side of things. But I do think that there is a line. Like, don't show up to this, that, or the other thing in pajama pants, or there are some.
Oh, totally.
There are some hard and fast things that I think we can still adhere to that don't.
I agree with that. And especially, and you brought up travel, because we have definitely seen our travel attire take a turn for the worse. And I don't think that that's necessarily a good trend. I understand it in many regards. And I also have women write in saying, oh, we should dress like we did 40 years ago.
That's impossible.
In heels. I mean, when I was a young girl,
Have you been to the Atlanta airport where you have to walk 5 miles to get to your gate?
Right.
Also, have you been on a plane where you're like?
That's right.
Yeah.
In the 40 years ago, planes were constructed much differently. We had leg room. We didn't have to climb over. I mean, if I have a window seat now, I probably want to be wearing pants because I know I'm going to have to climb over 2 people.
Right.
To get to my seat. But I still think that you can dress in a very tasteful way, but in a casual way, that you can run 5 miles through the Atlanta airport.
Oh, totally.
If the plane train is down, which has happened before.
Yeah. Gosh.
Right?
That plane train.
The plane train has gone down on a couple of times. So you can dress still appropriately, I guess, for the occasion, travel wise.
And be comfortable.
And be comfortable. I mean, we don't have to show up in our pajamas. And we see absolutely everything at the airport these days. And sometimes I'm like, okay, it is kind of interesting. Because I mean, if you just want to have an interesting afternoon, just sit in the
watch at the
just
airport.
people watch at the Atlanta airport, because boy, you see just about everything.
That's true.
It's
true. I've seen some wild outfits that I'm like, I hope you are only flying to Florida right now, because I cannot even imagine going across the country in that outfit, like stiletto heels, skirt. I mean, all
the
kinds of
best
things.
is when
It's
you
amazing.
see, and I've done this before too, but so I mean, I can't fault anyone for this. But the best
Chelsea gets
is
real
when
on message from mom.
The best is when you're traveling international, like you're going to Mexico or you're going to some Caribbean place, and you obviously cannot pack your massive straw hat in your suitcase.
So you wear it on the plane.
So then you have it either, attached to your arm, or you have it on your head. But it's so funny to me because you'll be this past weekend when we were traveling to Mexico, there were so many women that had their straw hat attached to them.
That's right.
I can imagine.
It's just so funny.
Right. Packable straw hats, ladies.
I was going to say,
straw hat.
You beat me to it, because there are so many amazing hats these days that you can pack that are specifically made for suitcases. Or, I mean, I had a little style tip that I've shared many, many times. If you just have a regular hat, you just roll up your swimsuit. I mean, you just stuff the hat.
Yeah.
Put it at the bottom of your suitcase.
Ooh, that's so smart.
That's
around the
idea.
hat.
And then you just build around it, and then your hat is in perfect
Oh, that's a good idea.
when you
That's
arrive.
such a good packing tip. Oh my
it
gosh.
really is. Actually, I think I have a little YouTube video where I shared that.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Just specifically for that. But as you said, there are packable hats now. We've come so far with our technology and how they can bounce back and everything. But I'll just go back to age appropriate dressing. So what is your thought about when someone does come over? Because Kelly, you're on the blog now.
I am.
And you do share outfits over there. So you've had to field some questions. Chelsea, not quite yet, but we're ramping you up. And actually, I will just share. So we just are introducing an Instagram series, which is Styled at Any Age. Is that what we're calling it?
Style at every age.
Style at every age. Thank you. So we have 30s, 40s, and then 60s. So it'll be fun to watch how we each style one item in our own style preferences. But anyway, just going back to age appropriate. So when you do get that question like, oh, you're too old to wear that, what is one of your responses to that?
Gosh, well, I actually I've never gotten a comment on the blog. And this may not be true on Instagram because I don't read all the comments over there, but I've never gotten a comment about that I'm too old to wear something over on the blog. But I do think that my personal style is preppy and a bit more conservative maybe than other 47-year-olds are going out there. I do follow some other ladies my age, and they may be a little bit more daring than I am when it comes to fashion. But I do have, I did have a lot of hangups with fashion because I was caught in a mindset of I can't wear wide leg pants because I'm short.
Right.
And I can't wear maxi length dresses because I'm short. So it's only been in the years that I've started on Style at a Certain Age where I've actually like kind of branched out and tried new things and actually realized like, oh my gosh, I can wear a maxi dress and feel really good wearing it and actually look good wearing it too, because probably mostly because I feel good wearing it. I do get a lot of comments about women saying this has nothing to do with age. It mostly has to do with being petite and them saying, oh, I could never get away with wearing, it looks really cute on you, but I could never get away with wearing that. And my response is always just try it and then tell me you don't feel amazing.
I agree.
And if you don't, you don't.
Right.
But just try it.
Yes.
Just try it.
It doesn't hurt to try it on. And I had just recently when I was looking for mother of the groom dresses, and I went into a boutique and I had a very skilled salesperson that brought in this dress and that dress. And one of my friends was with me, Rebecca, and we were like, we would look at the dresses and kind of like look at each other like, and we had each picked out a dress. So she'd picked a dress out for me and I picked out a dress for me too. Those were the two duds. It was a big eye opener for both of us. I mean, again, for me, when you have a trusted person that knows what they're doing, absolutely every dress that she brought in was amazing.
Wow.
And it was because she got me out of my little style box. And Rebecca and I were laughing because we had lunch afterwards and we are like, can you believe the two dresses that we picked out were the worst, the worst of the whole bunch? Yes. Yeah. But it was, as I said, it's really good to embrace just trying it, because what's it going to hurt?
Right.
If you don't like it, you don't like it, because there again, style is all about your personal preference and stepping out the door in confidence. So
and honestly, you're never going to know that something doesn't look good on you or that you don't like it until you try it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Really? Yeah. When we close ourselves off, if we just say, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that, then guess what? You can't do it.
Yeah.
But if you just open up your parameters a little bit,
100%.
You just never know. But I do get, I still get quite a bit. Oh, you're too old to wear that.
You do.
We definitely get that.
I get that actually
on Instagram a little bit,
quite a bit more on Facebook, and even
really?
and even on YouTube.
Well, if not to interrupt you, but if we can just say really quickly, like some of the things, and I don't. It's kind of mind-boggling actually, but don't show your knees.
I know.
Don't show your elbows.
I know.
Don't show your upper
elbows.
Yeah. Don't show your upper arms.
I know.
We're not Amish right now.
I know.
I know.
I mean, we're not.
I know.
There are some people that are, but
I think, but these are the things actually that people write in about, and it's kind of amazing. And it goes back to the, I'm sorry, but are we in our bathing? And Beth, your response is always very clever to me, and it's very smart. And I hope it gets people to realize, like, oh my gosh, what century am I living in? Because you say, I'm sorry, but what do you wear to the beach?
Yeah.
You know, are you in your early 20th century bathing costume that's long sleeves and has tights and shoes? Like,
that's right.
You know, there are things that
because
can be
right. When I go swimming, there again, it's dress for the occasion. When I go swimming, I wear a swimming suit, and I am going to have many parts of my body exposed. Many parts are still obviously covered with the swimsuit, but I mean, I don't wear a bikini anymore, but I do wear a two-piece. I wear a high-waisted two-piece.
Well, I think too, it's like fashion through the ages from, back in the 50s up until now. I mean, it changes for a reason. And I mean, it's changing, obviously for fashion purposes, but also for comfort levels. And I think as we've moved into different, decades, we're realizing, okay, well, we're not going to do that because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not
Lifestyle
wearing-
dictates.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
And comfort has really come into focus, especially since COVID,
Yeah.
because everybody, and I used to get this question too, or not a question, but a statement. I have nowhere to go. So I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that because I have nowhere to go.
Mhm.
But my response even to that, and that has nothing to do with age appropriate, that's just to do with your mindset. The person that you get dressed up for every day is you.
Yeah.
And the reason is because you feel better.
Right.
yeah.
You feel better when you actually take a shower and you are groomed and you put on a cute outfit. And, if you're just schlepping around, this is what happened during COVID.
Yeah.
And I think we really saw our mental health kind of take a big hit too,
Right.
is because
Yeah.
I truly believe that wearing a cute outfit or an outfit that you feel confident in, it just has so much to do with our psyche as well as just looking put together.
Well, I feel like I accomplish more during the day when I look put together than when I'm just kind of not looking great.
Hanging out in your PJs,
Yeah.
which I could do. I mean, if I wanted to, because I work from home.
Like if I'm in my
days.
PJs, then I'm probably watching Netflix. Whereas if I put on a cute outfit, then maybe I'm actually getting some work done.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yes. And I also so back to the age appropriate, and I did open it up with, I really have seen a big shift in the 9 years since I've been blogging, because when I first came on the scene, gray hair, I'll just take my hair color because I had gray hair. Honestly, I've had gray hair since I was 17. That was when I had a hairdresser pointed out to me. She was doing an updo for my prom, and she's like, "Oh, by the way, you do know you have gray hair." And I'm like,
Gosh.
"No, I didn't." I'm like, "What?" I'm like crying. She's like, "Yeah, you have quite a bit of gray hair." And I'm
Oh
like,
my
To
gosh.
find out as you're getting
I
ready for your
know.
senior prom.
who wants to hear that? 17 is that you have gray hair, So I think I started, crying, and I was just
gosh.
like, well, okay, well, what am I going to do? Nothing today.
Yeah.
But that was the first evidence of gray hair.
Mhm.
And through the years, my stylist just highlighted it to enhance it, rather than hide it.
Yeah.
But when I was 50 and we had come back to the States, and I had an amazing stylist, and she was like, "Beth, we're really just putting in highlights that are pretty much what your natural hair color is doing.
Yeah.
So let's just let it go." And we did, and
Yeah.
I've never looked back. But then fast forward, so that was 50. And then when I started blogging at 56, nobody was gray.
Mm.
And also, and I do remember this too, everybody was hiding behind the over 40 blogger. So there were a lot of over 40 bloggers, but I'm like, but okay, how old are you really? Because I was 56. So I came out right away, and I'm like, I'm 56
Yeah.
and I have gray hair, but I used to get a lot of SHIT about my hair color and how old.
You can say shit on podcasts.
Can I say that?
Yeah, you
okay.
I think you can.
Can I don't think I can on YouTube. But anyway,
You
can I? They swear. Oh, I can? Okay, everybody.
Oh my
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna. Oh, okay. I'm not that I'm not gonna draw off the F-bomb or anything like that. Okay, but anyway, people would come over and tell me that I look like shit and I look like so old, and I'm like,
It's so horrible.
yes, because that was our mindset that gray hair made us look old, and we didn't want to look old.
Yeah.
That was also some, and it still kind of is out there. But there again, COVID kind of came along, and so then nobody could go color their hair, and then everybody really realized, wow, this is very freeing. It's like I don't have to spend the money or the time, in the chair.
Well, gosh,
for that.
during that time, or even before COVID, I feel like it became very trendy for very young girls to dye their hair gray.
Yes, I know.
Frost their hair.
Yeah, to turn it gray.
And that was the big that the tide started to turn.
My Nana has a funny story because she used to teach home ec in high school, and her hair was starting to turn not gray, but she almost has like white hair. Like her hair is just a solid white.
Yeah.
And when it started to turn white, because it never really went through like the gray period,
Just went straight to white.
it went straight to white. And that was I guess this was back maybe in the late 70s and early 80s.
Yeah.
And all of her high school students were like, Mrs. Lynn, did you get your hair frosted?
Oh.
And they were like, it looks so good. And like,
Yeah.
they thought she spent all this money to go get her hair frosted. And
was just
she was
natural.
like, no. She was like, it's just my hair.
This is this is what
My
happens.
hair.
Well, my mom dyed her hair always,
Yeah.
and she was a brunette, and she always dyed her hair. And I'm very thankful that we live in an era where you have choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to be red, you can be red. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we even have, I don't know if the bright colors are so unpopular these days, but
They
it used to be
are.
like purple. Remember, everybody was like, they had to have purple hair, or it was
I've
blue
had
one
pink hair
day. It
before.
was a mermaid look. Have you had pink?
I did.
I
have
had light pink when I was like 25.
Uh-huh.
I did like a light pink, and then it kind of turned into like a strawberry blonde situation.
Yeah.
It was just a pink for a little bit, but I've always wanted to dye my hair like
Uh-huh.
a red, and
Yeah.
I've just been too.
You
oh,
should
you
do
should try
it.
it. It's fun.
You
I
should.
had my hair hot pink for my
Really?
senior prom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had the same haircut that I have now
Mm-hmm.
because
Mhm.
I've pretty much had this haircut almost forever. But
Yeah.
hot pink.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah.
I will say the
So much
light
fun.
pink hair color was like there was like something, like you said, freeing about it, where I
Yes.
was like, I have pink
Yeah.
hair. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's like
I
fun.
don't know, it's kind of cool.
Because
Mhm.
you catch a glimpse of it from the
Mhm.
side, you know, out of
Yeah.
the corner of your eye, and you're just like, oh my gosh, is that
Yeah.
me? And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to reinvigorate your
Well,
look, regardless
yeah.
of whether it's a hairstyle, color.
Yes.
If I
or
come back on our next
outfit.
episodes and have
Yeah.
red hair, then you know
I know why. Well, I actually went
Well, all
red.
the listeners will know why. They'll be like, oh my gosh, they'll see the evolution of
like Chelsea.
I know.
in real time.
I had a stylist when we lived in Oklahoma, so the boys were young. I was probably like 38. No, probably 36-ish. And they decided to dye me red, and it was like it was kind of fun. I
Oh.
really liked it. It was
Oh, you
it was
had
like
red hair.
it was like an auburn, like
Yeah.
a dark auburn.
That's
the
fun.
upkeep-
I can't
the
imagine
upkeep-
you with
I
auburn
know.
hair.
It's really
Wow.
beautiful.
So
Yeah.
But the upkeep was just too much.
Yeah.
It was just like I'm like, oh gosh,
the
this
upkeep
yeah.
is
It was
Yeah.
like no, I couldn't do it. So it was fun
I-
for a brief
Yeah.
moment, and I did like the color. And
I used to dye my hair like all the time.
Mhm.
Like, it's actually kind of, you guys have seen me at my most tame moments.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I've had, when I lived in New York, you guys, I'll have to show you a picture of this.
Yeah, I know.
When I lived in New York,
Piqued my interest now.
So my first year in New York, I had like basically almost black hair, and then on
Oh,
top of
wow.
the black
Oh,
hair,
I can't see that. That's very goth.
on
That-
top of the black
had to have
hair,
been very
I had
goth.
red highlights,
Oh wow.
like bright red
Uh-huh.
highlights.
Uh-huh.
And then I decided that I wanted to be platinum blonde,
Mhm.
and I went from black with red highlights
Mm-hmm.
to platinum blonde.
Wow.
I've done everything. I've had light pink. But I've never had red. I've never fully had red.
You should try.
That's the only one.
I think you would look good with
That's
red.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if Andrew would like it, but
He's very weird about hair.
he's very particular.
Yeah.
He just now told me like a week ago that he was like, "Are you growing your hair out?" I was like, "Oh." He doesn't really like my short hair.
Oh, really?
He doesn't like it.
I think he likes it
That's
now
so
that it's like grown
cute.
out a little bit with like the curls.
I love.
But when it was like a little bit shorter,
Uh-huh.
because now it's been like a month.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Mac
he-
always loved me in short hair. I mean, I've had like really, really short hair. A lot
Yeah.
of people. So we can
you've
actually
always had short hair.
we
I
can
feel
go we can go talk about age appropriate hairstyles too, because that's also that was a big thing, because
Yeah.
so many women
Actually.
will write in there say, oh, why did you cut your hair short just because you're over 50? And I'm like, well, I actually did that when I was 17,
Yeah.
and I've never looked back. My dad used to
Yeah, you had
tease me.
short hair in your wedding photos.
Yeah, I've
right?
always
Like-
I've had short hair since I don't know what possessed me, but just one day I was 17. I'll never forget it. and I cut my own hair into like a short pixie,
Oh my god.
and my dad just howled with laughter, and he used to call me Joan of Arc. From then on, it was like Joan of Arc. Hey, Joan,
Well, but it kind of
but it suits me.
like Princess Diana
Yeah.
had that hairstyle,
always-
and
Well, it was funny when she burst on the scene. I actually had the same hairstyle as
Yeah.
Princess Diana when she was just
yeah, and you
Lady
looked
Di.
just like her.
I did, I did. And the boys, I'll never forget. This is a cute story. So Andrew was probably about 4, and we were standing in the grocery store line, and of course Diana was always on the covers, and he's like, Mom, why are you on the cover?
Oh my
of the
gosh,
magazine?"
really?
It was so cute.
That
It
is
was really, really
adorable.
cute.
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
It was cute. But
there is a thing about women and
let's go back to that. Let's
feeling like you can't have long hair after a certain age.
Right?
Yeah.
And you definitely can't have long gray hair, which is not true at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I've seen so many beautiful women rocking long gray hair.
There's a model on the J. Crew website. I haven't seen her anywhere else but that website, but she's so gorgeous and she just has long gray hair. But do you think that this kind of mentality comes from like growing up with storybooks of like the witch who lives, and with the long scraggly gray hair? Is that where that comes from, do you think? Or how do we as a society at this point in the 21st century, with all the things that we have at our fingertips in terms of influence and whatever and personal preference, how do we still hold on to these ideas that like gray hair, long hair, crotchety old lady, old maid, whatever means bad? Like, how are we still holding on to these things? I wonder.
I know. It's very interesting. I do think, and as I said in the opener, we're pushing back the boundaries.
Yeah.
And I've seen a big shift in the 9 years that I've been blogging. But I do think that one of the old wives' tales was we basically turned to dust.
Yeah.
Once we became invisible. And I know there's still a lot of women at 40, 50, 60, they really do start to feel invisible. And I do think there's an old mindset that because we are invisible, we need to look invisible. So so cut your hair into an unattractive style.
Right.
Wear dowdy clothes. Wear prints that match the carpet in a hotel. Right, rather than being fashion forward and embracing your age, being vibrant at your age.
Yeah.
And so rather than be invisible. And I think that's the shift that I've really seen. And I think that was when I first started blogging. So many women were concerned about, oh, I can't wear this and I can't wear that. And it's like, why can't you?
Well,
why, so there again, so whether you're petite, whether you're older, it's like, don't hold on to these outdated.
Right.
I think too,
mindsets.
Like kind of tying in dressing your age. And with the hair, and like once you get past a certain age, it's like, oh, you have to cut your hair short.
Right. You don't have to do anything.
Well, I think you don't have to do anything. And also, I think it more so just becomes about styling it.
Yes.
Like how you style it. Because like you said, you've seen women that have gorgeous, long gray hair. My mom has longer hair than I do right now. And my mom she turns 59 this year. And I mean, it's not much longer than mine, but I think she styles it well. And I think she wears it well.
Right.
And if she wants to cut it shorter, she's had it shorter before. I think it would look great too. And I've even seen, like, I have friends that are closer in age to me that have had really long hair. And I'm like, they're not even to the point of graying yet, or, back when they had the long hair. And to me, I'm like, oh my God, they would look so much better with shorter hair. But I don't even necessarily know if they would look better with shorter hair. They would look better with hair that was styled.
Exactly. And I think,
and
I think that's a very valid point. We just need to be very fashion forward and style forward. So no matter whether that's our makeup, our hairstyle, fashion, we don't have to give anything up at any age.
Yeah.
I mean, and I look at Iris Apfel that just passed away. What a rock star.
Yeah.
That came out and definitely marched to her own tune. And she had big glasses and short hair and bold jewelry and, bold prints, but it suited her.
Yeah.
It suited her. And I imagine she felt as confident as anything on any given day. And I think that's maybe just something that we just need to remind everybody, is that style is always personal. We should be thoughtful about dressing for our body style. I mean, not our body style, our body shape, so whether it's an apple shape, you're curvy, you're petite, all these things. There are many things that we can do to enhance our outfit.
Right.
But age has absolutely zero to do with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely zero to do with it.
Right. Yeah. It's more 100%. About fit.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So anything else we want to chat about with dressing age appropriate?
Not at this time, but you know what? I do feel like we'll revisit this topic as we evolve and as styles and trends evolve and things change. Because I think the cyclical style or the cyclical fashion of fashion, things always are coming back. And right now we're in this very weird, to me weird, but like 90s, early 2000s moment. I'll pick and choose my favorite things from it, but overall as a whole, that era was like not the best for fashion as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
But things change so quickly and so, dramatically nowadays. And especially with all the social media and all the, the proliferance of fashion blogs that we have to influence us, like
60 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's
that's quite
changing faster than it ever has before, I think. And I don't necessarily think that the fashion magazines, get to decide anymore.
No, they don't
as much as they did before.
Their viewership is such on the decline.
Yeah.
I mean, they used to like hold court.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever they said. I mean, excuse me. That's my Prosecco. Hello. But they used to hold court, and I loved getting my latest edition. And, as a teenager at 17, then I moved into Glamour and Mary Claire and Vogue. Loved all of that. And I loved to hear what the fashion editors had to say. But they used to really, as I said, hold court, and we had to adhere. We had to jump to their whatever their beat that they were drumming to, and now we don't have to. And I do love that in today's society. And it really is
democratized.
Style is about personal preference, feeling confident. And I will always say, dress for the occasion.
Sorry.
And
I've got the giggles over here. I'm sorry.
She's got the giggles.
The giggles
because
because I burped or something else.
It was, go on.
Maybe I made a face.
Well, just the two style rules that I adhere to: dress for the occasion and dress for the weather. And if you keep those in mind, you're going to be totally fine. You're good to go. And I will also encourage everybody to stay abreast of trends. You don't necessarily, like you were saying, Kelly, you don't necessarily need to incorporate them into your outfits if you're not liking those trends, but stay abreast of them. Know what's current, know what's going on. And I think I just like to maybe pick one or two trends to keep my wardrobe looking current and fresh.
Yeah.
I think that's also very important. And also, stay on top of like makeup trends and hairstyles and just all those things, because we don't turn to dust at a certain age. For sure we don't. We don't have to fall into that trap that we have to dress age appropriate or that we have to give things up. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable in it anymore, then definitely don't be doing it. But there's no, and I will point this out to also my readers when they write in. I just say clothes have sizes, not ages.
Not ages, yeah.
And that's
for sure.
Yeah.
Also, if you're short, don't be afraid to try things that people have always told you don't work on short people.
Exactly. I like that. Okay. All right, ladies. Well, I think we wrapped up another episode of Message for Mom. And stay tuned because we drop an episode every Saturday.